All right, so get this, everyone. Today, we are diving deep, like deep, into the world of international pageantry.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, but not just any pageant. We're talking about potential next steps for this Philippines. Chelsea Manalo.
The one who just, totally rocked Miss Universe.
Exactly. I mean, think Miss World, Miss Earth, even some of those newer ones that maybe you haven't heard of yet.
Oh, yeah, those can be really interesting.
So we're going to go beyond all the sparkle and the glam to figure out what these potential moves could mean for her.
The strategy behind it all.
Right. Okay, so first things first. Everyone is talking about Chelsea's strengths. Like, the articles we found are just overflowing with how amazing she is on stage, how well-spoken she is, and her passion for all her advocacy work.
And that's not just fluff, Those are the things that judges in these international pageants, they really notice that.
They're looking for the whole package.
Exactly. Someone who can hold everyone's attention, get their vision across, and connect with people from all over.
It's interesting, though. A lot of the articles, they highlight her advocacy work, especially for women in education.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like they're dropping hints about where she might be headed.
Well, if those articles are anything to go by, Miss World seems like it would be a perfect fit.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Beauty with a purpose. Right. That's her whole thing. And it's not just like a catchy slogan.
Oh, right.
It's actually a big chunk of their scoring. It's not enough to just, look good in a swimsuit.
They want someone who's out there actually doing good in the world.
Yeah, a real change maker. And Chelsea's already shown she can do that.
So Miss World's looking for someone who's making a difference. But what about Miss Earth? They're all about the environment. Do you think what she's done so far translates well to that?
I think, absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe her main work hasn't been directly with environmental issues, but her ability to bring communities together, get people talking about important things, and fight for causes, she believes in all of those skills. They're totally transferable.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, she's talked about how important education is, and part of that is educating people about, what's happening to our planet.
It's so interesting how each of these different pageants, they need different strengths. Miss World wants that powerful advocate. Miss Earth wants someone who can rally people around a cause.
Totally. It's like each competition is its own world, its own playing field.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of different worlds, there's another pageant with a completely different vibe. Miss Supranational.
Ooh, yes. This one is all about the glamour, the confidence. Think like high-energy performances, amazing runway walks, and a personality that just lights up the room.
And that's where Chelsea's charisma really shines. I mean, have you seen her work a crowd? It's magnetic.
Totally. And the articles we've got, they talk about how comfortable she is on stage. Doesn't matter if she's giving a speech or wearing an evening gown.
She owns it.
Exactly. And that's what Miss Supranational is all about, owning that spotlight. And it might be different from Miss World or Miss Earth, but it's just as impactful,
Absolutely. And don't forget how big that competition is. She'd be reaching a huge global audience.
Right.
So we've got Miss World, Miss Earth, and Miss Supranational, each with their own thing going on. But there's another one known for being bold, especially about global issues, Miss Grand International. This one is all about peace, using your voice to make the world better, diplomacy, that kind of thing.
If you can imagine Chelsea giving this powerful speech on a stage in front of the world, talking about things like conflict resolution and everyone working together, then you can see why Miss Grand International might be a good fit.
Oh, totally.
This pageant wants someone who can be a strong advocate for peace. And with Chelsea's communication skills and how much she's done for the causes she believes in, she'd be a really strong contender.
Each of these pageants offers such a different platform. It's incredible. Miss World Social Change, Miss Earth Environmental Awareness, Miss Supranational Captivating Audiences, and then Miss Grand International Global Diplomacy.
And we can't forget about Miss International.
Oh.
It's a bit more classic, They really value inner beauty, cultural diplomacy, and that traditional, elegant presentation style.
That's a really interesting contrast to the energy of Miss Grand International. And from what I've read, it seems like Chelsea really embodies that grace and substance that Miss International values.
Yes, exactly. Several articles mentioned how she connects with people and gets across these really heartfelt messages about understanding different cultures.
So it's like all these established pageants, they show different sides of her personality. But there's a whole other layer to this. We have to talk about the new kids on the block, these more innovative pageants that are popping up.
Oh, absolutely.
You're talking about Cosmopolitan Beauty, Miss Global, right? The articles talk about how they're shaking things up. They're all about being inclusive and have this fresh take on what it means to be a global ambassador.
Exactly. These pageants are pushing boundaries and changing how we think about pageants.
It's pretty exciting.
And they're attracting a new generation, both the contestants and the people watching who are looking for something different.
Yeah, it's something that reflects how the world is changing. It would be fascinating to see what Chelsea could do with a platform like that.
Wouldn't it? I mean, these newer pageants are all about being yourself, making a statement. It's less about fitting into those traditional beauty standards and more about celebrating what makes each person unique.
Love that. So we've got the big names: Miss World, Miss Earth, Miss Supranational, Miss Grand International, and Miss International. They all have their history and focus.
Each one a powerhouse.
Then we have the up-and-comers, like Cosmopolitan Beauty and Miss Global. Really changing the game.
It's a lot to consider.
It really is. So many options.
Which brings up a really interesting point. It's exciting to think about all these different options, but there's also a strategic advantage to maybe just focusing on one.
Ah, interesting. So instead of trying to be everywhere at once, really zeroing in on one pageant and becoming like a leading voice there.
Exactly. Choosing your superpower and really mastering it.
That's a really good way to think about it.
And it's something we've seen a lot of successful queens do. They find that platform that really speaks to them and what they believe in, and they pour themselves into it.
They dedicate themselves to making a real difference in that specific area.
Right. It's about choosing a path and walking it with purpose instead of trying to be everything to everyone.
Love that. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's think about what's happened in the past. It's not that unusual for queens to compete in a bunch of different international pageants over their careers, right?
Right, yeah. Actually, a lot of queens have done really well by competing in different ones. Each one gives them a different challenge and helps them grow.
So it's like deciding in the world of pageantry, do you want to be a specialist or do you want to be well-rounded, like a generalist?
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's no right or wrong answer. It all depends on what each person wants to achieve.
Some of the articles talked about successful transitions between different pageants.
Yeah.
They mentioned a few queens who competed in a bunch of different ones and used each experience to, like, spread their message and make an even bigger impact.
It's like each competition adds a new chapter to their story, another layer to their work.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows they're not afraid to try new things and step outside their comfort zone.
And think about what it takes to be successful on those different platforms. Each one has different judges, different ways of doing things.
That's true.
It says a lot about how dedicated they are, how resilient they are.
Definitely. It shows they're really committed to making a difference on a global scale. And speaking of making a difference, let's bring it back to you, the listeners.
Yes.
We've talked about all these different possibilities for Chelsea's future in pageantry. But what do you think she should do next?
Yeah, what do you think?
That's the big question. Which path would be the best for her strengths and the things she's passionate about? We would love to hear your thoughts. Head over to our social media and let us know which pageant you think would be perfect for Chelsea. And while you're thinking about that, let's keep going deeper into this whole idea of transitioning between pageants.
Because it's not just about winning crowns, right?
Exactly. It's about growing, changing, and making your impact on the world even bigger. It's interesting to think about the personal growth that comes with competing on different platforms. Each pageant has its own unique culture and expectations.
Totally. And figuring all that out, it takes a lot of self-awareness, being sensitive to other cultures, and being able to adapt to new environments.
Like each competition is a crash course in being a global citizen.
And these queens are graduating with honors. They're developing a global perspective, getting even better at communication, and learning how to connect with people from all over the world.
So no matter what Chelsea decides, whether she focuses on just one platform or takes on the challenge of multiple competitions, she's already shown that she's a true global ambassador.
Absolutely. She's articulate, she's compassionate, and she's dedicated to making things better. Those qualities will shine through no matter what she does.
And her journey, just what she's done so far, it's already inspired so many people.
That's right. The articles we read, they talked about how Chelsea's story could impact young Filipinas, how her success could inspire a whole new generation of women to go after their dreams.
It's powerful. Representation really matters.
Seeing someone like Chelsea doing so well on the world stage, it can be incredibly empowering. It shows young women that anything is possible if you're willing to work hard and go for it.
It's like she's breaking down barriers and making a path for others to follow.
Exactly. And this is bigger than just pageantry, you know? It's about showing young women that they can achieve anything they set their minds to.
It's about encouraging them to use their voices and make the world a better place.
And Chelsea's doing just that. She's using her platform to speak up for what she believes in, and she's inspiring others to do the same.
Now, before we wrap things up for today, there's one more thing we haven't really talked about. We've discussed her maybe competing in several different international pageants, but what if she decides to pour all her energy into just one platform, one that really lines up with her values and goals?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. It would be a very strategic move. It would let her become a leading voice in that specific area. Imagine her devoting herself to something like championing women's education or being a global ambassador for taking care of the environment.
It's like choosing your superpower and really honing it.
Exactly. And she could really make a deep impact on a particular issue, build a network of people who feel the same way, and dedicate herself to making real, lasting change.
And wouldn't that kind of dedication be really attractive to sponsors and organizations, the ones who are looking to partner with someone who's truly committed to a cause?
Absolutely. It's about building credibility, becoming an expert in a certain area, and that can open up even more opportunities to make a difference.
So it's not just about picking a pageant, it's about creating a strategy to make a real impact.
It's about using her platform to create meaningful change in the world.
And no matter what she chooses, whether she focuses on one platform or goes for the challenge of competing in multiple pageants, one thing's for sure. Chelsea Manalo is a force to be reckoned with.
She's got the brains, the charisma, the heart, and the drive to make a real difference.
And no matter what path she chooses, she'll keep inspiring us with her grace, her determination, and her commitment to making the world a better place.
She's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, to use our voices for the causes we care about, and to inspire others to do the same.
Well, deep divers, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of international pageantry and the exciting possibilities that are out there for Chelsea Manalo.
We've talked about her strengths, the different paths she could take, and how to think strategically about making the best choice.
And we've been so inspired by her journey, her dedication to making a difference, and the power of seeing someone like her represented on the world stage.
It's been a really interesting look at ambition, purpose, and how one person can make a real impact on the world.
A huge thank you to you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the things that make you curious. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to start your own extraordinary journey, just like Chelsea.
It's pretty amazing when you think about how other queens have, made these decisions.
Yeah.
Some have become so connected to a specific pageant, they put their whole heart into it. And then others, they really thrive on that challenge of, conquering different competitions.
So it's like, in the pageant world, are you going to be the specialist or are you going to be the well-rounded generalist?
That's a great way to put it. And there's no right answer. It really comes down to what you want to achieve.
I was thinking about how some of the articles we read, they talked about successful transitions between pageants. They mentioned a few queens who competed in a bunch of different international competitions, and they used each one as a way to amplify their message and make a bigger impact.
Yeah, it's like each competition adds another layer to their story.
Yeah.
Adds another dimension to the work they're doing.
Well, I see what you mean. And it shows they're willing to try new things, step outside their comfort zone.
Right. And think about what it takes to be successful on all those different platforms. Each one has different judges, different expectations, different ways of doing things.
Oh, for sure.
It really shows how dedicated and resilient they are.
Definitely. It's like they're saying, we're serious about making a difference on a global scale. And speaking of making a difference, let's bring it back to our listeners.
Yes.
So we've talked about all these different paths Chelsea could take in the pageant world. But what do you think she should do?
Yeah, we want to know what you think.
That's the million-dollar question. Which path would really highlight her strengths and her passions? We want to hear from you. Head over to our social media and tell us which pageant you think would be the best fit for Chelsea. And while you're mulling that over, let's dig a little deeper into this whole idea of transitioning between pageants. Because it's not just about collecting crowns, right?
No, definitely not. It's about growing, evolving, and using those experiences to make a bigger impact on the world.
It makes you think about the personal growth that must come with competing on all these different platforms.
Yeah.
Each pageant has its own culture, its own set of expectations.
Yeah, for sure. And figuring all that out, it takes a lot of self-awareness. You have to be sensitive to different cultures and be able to adapt to new environments.
It's almost like every competition is a crash course in being a global citizen.
And these queens, they're graduating with honors. They're developing this global perspective, becoming even better communicators, and learning how to connect with people from all walks of life.
It's pretty amazing. So whether Chelsea decides to stick with one platform or go for the challenge of competing in multiple pageants, she's already proven that she's a true global ambassador.
Absolutely. She's articulate, compassionate, and committed to making a difference. Those qualities will shine through no matter what she does.
And just her journey so far, it's already inspired so many people.
Yeah, you're right. The articles we read, they talked about the impact Chelsea's story could have, especially on young Filipinas, like how her success could inspire a whole new generation of women to pursue their dreams.
Representation matters.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Seeing someone like Chelsea doing so well on the world stage, it's incredibly empowering. It shows young women that anything is possible if you put in the work and don't give up.
It's like she's breaking down barriers and showing others the way.
Exactly. And this goes beyond just pageantry. It's about showing young women that they can achieve anything they set their minds to.
It's about encouraging them to use their voices to make a difference.
And Chelsea is doing just that. She's using her platform to speak up for what she believes in, and she's inspiring others to do the same. Now, before we wrap things up today, there's one more angle we haven't really talked about. We've talked about her maybe competing in different international pageants. But what if she decides to put all her energy into just one that really aligns with her values and goals?
That's a really interesting thought. It would definitely be a strategic move. It would allow her to become like a leading voice in that area.
Yeah. Imagine her dedicating herself to, say, championing women's education or becoming a global ambassador for environmental sustainability.
It's like choosing your superpower and really focusing on developing it.
Exactly. And it could really help her make a deeper impact. You know, instead of dividing her energy between multiple things, she could really concentrate on one and make a significant difference. It's about depth versus breadth.
So instead of spreading her influence across a bunch of different competitions, she could focus on one specific area and make a truly meaningful impact.
It's about making the biggest difference possible. Think about the legacy she could create by becoming a powerful advocate for something she's truly passionate about. It's about putting your energy where it matters most.
That's really inspiring. It reminds us that success isn't just about winning and getting recognition. It's about the impact we have on the world.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's Chelsea's decision. She gets to choose the path that feels most authentic and fulfilling to her.
And whatever she chooses, we know she'll keep inspiring us with her grace, her intelligence, and her dedication to making the world a better place.
There's a lot we can all learn from Chelsea's journey.
Definitely. She reminds us that if we work hard, stay determined, and have a kind heart, we can all do amazing things and make a positive impact on the world.
Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of our exploration for today. We've unpacked all these different possibilities for Chelsea Manalo, from going for multiple international pageants to focusing on one specific platform. She's got a lot of options.
And we've talked about the importance of transitioning between competitions, the power of representation, and how important it is to choose a path that aligns with your passions and goals.
And most importantly, we've been inspired by Chelsea's journey and the incredible potential she has to make a real difference.
She's a shining example of what's possible when you combine talent, dedication, and a genuine desire to make the world better.
A huge thank you to all of you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of international pageantry and Chelsea Manalo's inspiring journey.
Until next time. Keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and keep diving deep into the things that you're curious about.
And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to start your own extraordinary journey, just like Chelsea.
Yeah, it's like we're standing at this crossroads in her journey.
Yeah.
All these different paths are opening up for her.
Right, and each one could lead to something amazing.
It just goes to show that success, it doesn't always follow a straight line, you know?
Totally. Sometimes the most fulfilling journeys are the ones with those unexpected turns.
It's those moments when you have to make a choice. That's when you really figure out who you are and what you believe in.
I like that. Think about it. Each pageant gives her a different stage, a different audience, a different chance to make a real impact.
Like each one's a different tool for a specific job.
That's a good way to put it.
So if she wants to focus on, say, the environment, Miss Earth would be the platform for that. But if she's passionate about women and girls, then Miss World really lines up with that mission.
Right. And if she wants to talk about peace and diplomacy on a global scale, well, Miss Grand International is the place for that.
But it goes beyond just lining up with a cause, right? It's also about making the biggest impact she can.
And that's where the strategy comes in. If she focuses on one platform, she could become like the leading voice in that area.
So it's like picking your lane and becoming the expert.
Yeah, exactly. She could really dive deep into a specific issue, connect with other people who care about it, and really dedicate herself to creating change.
And wouldn't that be appealing to sponsors and organizations, the ones who want to partner with someone who's really all in on a specific cause?
Oh, absolutely. It's about showing that you're credible, that you're the expert, and that can open up a lot of doors to make a difference.
So it's more than just picking a pageant. It's about creating a whole strategy to make a real impact.
It's about using your influence, your platform, to make the world a better place.
And no matter what she decides, whether she goes for one platform or takes on the challenge of competing in multiple pageants, one thing's for sure, Chelsea Manalo is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, she absolutely is. She's got the brains, the charisma, the heart, and the drive to make a real difference.
And no matter what path she chooses, she's going to keep inspiring us with her grace, her determination, and her commitment to making the world a better place.
She's a great example of what's possible when you combine talent, dedication, and a genuine desire to make things better.
Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of our exploration to the exciting possibilities ahead for Chelsea Manalo in the world of international pageantry.
We've looked at her strengths, the different platforms out there, and how to think strategically about choosing the best path.
And we've been inspired by her journey, her commitment to making a difference, and the power of seeing someone like her represented on the world stage.
It's been a fascinating look at ambition, purpose, and how much impact one person can have.
Thank you to all of you, our fantastic listeners, for joining us on this deep dive. It's been an incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into whatever sparks your curiosity. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to start your own amazing journey just like Chelsea.